It started with what would Laura Roslin do? And now we're asking, what would Sharon Raydor do? Welcome to episode 11 of the What Would Sharon Raydor Do podcast, where we talk to the woman who knows her best, Mary McDonnell, about Sharon's character, thoughts, her interactions with the team, and more. I'm Mina Sharpe, the editor of MajorCrimesTV.net, and before we get started, just a warning that this episode of the podcast will be discussing the last few episodes of Major Crimes Season 5, including Shockwave Part 1 and 2. Just a warning, if you haven't caught up yet and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening now, go catch up, then come back and listen to our discussion. Very thrilled to be here again hosting the podcast, and very happy to welcome Mary.
Hi. And hello again, Chelsea. Hi. Yay.
Yay. It's a great group and so much to discuss for these last few episodes. I mean, Sharon had quite an eventful few days in the finale. She almost got blown up a couple times. Everyone almost got blown up a couple times. And then she got promoted. So first of all, welcome, Commander.
Oh, thank you.
I like the sound of that.
I like the sound of Commander Raydor. I mean, I think that, only the future will show us what that really means. Part of what I loved about it is the absolutely unexpected emergence of it once again, and that she wasn't really pining for any of it. And she definitely, as we saw, did not want to be assistant chief. Nobody did, apparently, which I think is one of the cleverest things I've ever seen, is that nobody wants the job. But I think it's important. I think that it's a very good move on the part of James Duff to not leave that not done. I think it's really important, so I'm quite pleased.
It was a really inspirational moment to see her finally, after all these years of doing such good work, have that moment. And, and a lot of the fans have talked about how inspiring it was to them.
Yes.
To see, a really accomplished woman finally get her due.
Well, also, I think part of what was so kind of delicious about it is that she had been passed over for it. And so many women every day are passed over for positions that they deserve, or they are underpaid, or they are secretly underpaid, or whatever it is that is still going on, unfortunately. And so it's really gratifying to see a woman who had been passed over rather unjustly, who felt the sting of that, but dug her heels in and loves the work regardless, and got to the point with the work where another position wasn't necessary, and then to have it come to her. And I think what's really beautiful about that too is that the completely different attitude of the assistant chiefs in both instances. So if you think back to Taylor, who's very condescending to her in that moment, and really didn't take it that seriously, and basically called her old. And Commander Mason has total respect for her and is absolutely committed to her and doesn't have any of those barriers. He's of a different generation. And that's what got me excited when I read it. Sort of like men are changing.
Right.
In how they perceive this. Assistant Chief Taylor was quite of another generation of patriarchal thinking. Commander Mason doesn't seem to have that, inhibiting his impulses, and it makes him more smart, in my opinion, smarter. So it said a lot about the men involved as well, which I really loved.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm excited to see Sharon have an ally in that position where for so long Chief Taylor, maybe he kind of moved away from the antagonistic position, but he never really was on her side. No. He was always looking out for him. And it seems like Mason has a bigger viewpoint of, what Sharon can do for the LAPD, what he can do, and how that can change going forward.
Well, also remember, he didn't want to be assistant chief either, so he really needs her help.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going to happen with Fritz.
He's going to go to his little office down the hall.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah.
Now, what did it mean to you to have played this character, and now there's another aspect to it for you? Is there another aspect to it for you, or?
Well, I have yet to see what it means in the writing. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to it because we ended hearing Commander Mason say that he wanted to discuss changes. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that really does mean and how that affects her perspective on not only the job, but on whether or not, how many more years or decades, if or whatever, she sees herself with the LAPD. Like, this could open up a completely different door to her, and she may decide to stay a lot longer than she was perhaps even intending, depending on how she feels about, it is possible that things, when you are given a different position and you don't have a really strong, it's not part of your ladder climbing, you can quite often use the position to initiate things that you feel personally need to happen. And do you know what I mean? And I'm sure a lot needs to happen for women in the LAPD and everywhere, particularly any paramilitary organization, constantly needs rethinking of the female energy in there and how to give it full reign and protect it from the gender problems. So that might be kind of interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to.
But that's, I think, the spin-off.
I like it. Well,
yeah, I know. Right.
Awesome. There, see, we have it. We have it ready to go.
Yes, she was 30 years in the LAPD. Oh dear.
So, kind of related to that, do you think there's any advice that Sharon would go back and give her younger self about her journey with the LAPD, or conversely, to give other women coming into the LAPD now?
Well, I don't know about the LAPD specifically, but I will say that I think Sharon is an extraordinarily patient person. And although I admire her patience, I'm not sure I would recommend that amount of tolerance at times to younger women, because it gets used and abused, as we're seeing in the world today, so consistently. That kind of, well, okay, I didn't get the promotion, and so I'm just going to dig my heels in. That's part of her nature, given everything. But women need to fight out loud for their rights and fight for those things, and not let promotions that they were deserved of go unaddressed, and salaries go unaddressed, and things like that. It's a big fight out there. It truly is. And I think that's part of what James knows, and to bring this back in to discussion is part of the way he continually supports the awareness of women's issues out there. So I would say, Sharon is a wonderful example of someone who continues to dig her heels into life and comes out on top. But don't give up the fight, girls, is what I would say, because, boy, they're still trying to pull some fast ones out there.
Absolutely.
Every single day.
Oh, I know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She has played the long game and it's worked out, but
yes.
sometimes, that just isn't an option.
Right. Right.
So another scene that was really wonderful, I thought, was when Sharon pretty much chews Nolan out for getting disrespectful with Winnie Davis.
Yeah.
And aside from all of Sharon's issues with Davis, she says, I'm the happiest I've ever been, and if I can get along with her, so can all of you.
Yeah.
And that was a really remarkable scene, I thought, because it showed us once again that even when Sharon is so frustrated and in being kind of boxed in at all these turns to try and do her job, how much she still ultimately respects the chain of command.
Well, she deeply respects the chain of command, and she also feels that, Nolan needs to understand that his life depends on to a certain extent, following certain rules. And he's come from a, you know, undercover, it's different. You're on your own, you're a renegade, you're kind of whatever. But we have to put up at times with a lot of crap in the world as a collective in order to move agenda forward. And there's no reason for anyone in that situation except for their ego to confront that directly. Does not help anyone except the egos involved and how much they enjoy being able to like be an upstart. I mean, really, honestly, that's her point of view on it, and I don't disagree.
Yeah.
You know, and of course Provenza likes it because, you know, that's where his comfort zone is. But were he running the department, he would have a different response to it, I do
Absolutely.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a luxury, you know, that Sharon doesn't have. But I also think that she used the opportunity to speak about herself in a highly unusual way. And I was shocked by that writing. I was thrilled that she decided to not only reprimand him, but in the process reveal, hey, I'm a human being here who also enjoys things, and I'm happy. Hello? Mm-hmm. So get off it.
Right.
And I was so thrilled that she was able to, that the writing gave her the freedom to use that.
Yeah, it was a great moment.
Reprimand as exposure or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was, I think it went, the squad took it more to heart because she did it that way instead of just being like, hey, buddy, you know, you can't say that. But she revealed, you know, it's so rare for her to reveal that of herself, to do that. And then they really seem to take that to heart.
Right. And, you know, I will say one other thing, too, in that moment that I really liked, that I felt, is that whether it was Sharon trying to get Brenda Lee in line because she knew she was going to be in trouble and the department was going to lose all their money and perhaps get shut down, from Sharon's point of view, or Sharon having to maneuver around Winnie Davis, who has an agenda on her own, whatever it is, Sharon Raydor never loses the awareness that women get beat up in the power structure. And so even though Winnie Davis is a pain in Sharon's ass, I don't think she liked Wes thinking he could just disrespect an assistant chief who's a female. He wouldn't have done it if it was a guy. And I swear, 100%, I think that's true. He wouldn't have done that to an assistant chief that was a man. And she knows that too. And it doesn't matter what the equation is, whether her, you know, giving Brenda a hard time or Winnie giving Sharon a hard time, Sharon knows, women get, you know, disrespected more readily in this paramilitary organization than a man would. And she doesn't like it. So that's what I liked about that moment as well.
Yeah, it was great and so well played, and
Thanks.
just a really strong moment for Sharon.
And I really liked Daniel the way he played it. I mean, he was perfectly unaware of the fact that he was lighting a match. You know what I mean?
Right.
Completely unaware. He's too cool. He's too like, and he was sort of like, oh, really? Huh. You know what I mean?
Well, like you said, he's been on his own so long. Now that he's with the squad, it seems like he's kind of like a kid that doesn't really know where the line is, when he can stop playing with his friends.
Yes, and
kind
also he said, you know, the generational thing in terms of hierarchy and authority. This is a different world, and I think technology has changed all that. The autonomy that young people feel, given that they've grown up with a voice whenever they feel like it, whenever they want, into the entire world that they choose, it creates a different. You don't really always understand, I don't think, the need for those kind of rules in that world, but in this world, the world of the police and the military, what have you, those rules are really, really, in Sharon Raydor's opinion, a matter of life and death. And you got to practice them. You can't just use them the moment there's an emergency and you might get killed. You know what I mean? You've got to discipline your mind to understand your response to things again and again and again, so that you're in the right place when those scary moments happen and you don't do the wrong thing. That's how I feel. Me, Sharon.
So also in the finale, you know, we saw Andy have a moment where he's supposed to be on desk duty. Suddenly he's sneaking across the street and taking down our bomber.
Yeah.
Is he going to be in trouble when he goes home? Is he in trouble with Captain Raydor, or is he in trouble with Sharon?
Well, because she's now commander, I don't even know what to do.
Oh, see, right? It's going to take me some getting used to for this, too.
It's like, well, she was captain when he did it, and he saved everybody in the LAPD in the process. So what are you going to do? I would give him a medal. But no, I don't know. You know, no, I don't think he's going to be in trouble. No, I don't. I think that, although I don't know, he'll probably have to go through something. You know what I mean? But as far as she's concerned, no. She'd say he absolutely, you know. It would be like if a citizen did what he did, they wouldn't be reprimanded, right? It was extraordinary circumstances, and he came through again, which he's wont to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of damage in that squad room, but it could have been much, much worse.
Thanks. And oh my God, can we just talk? Well, I'll wait till you get to that question.
No, please,
All
feel
right.
free.
Shooting the bomb, the explosion. Okay, first of all, we were almost done, and everybody had that damn cold that was going around the United States of America and North America, really. It was like people were barely able to breathe anyway. So we're lying on the floor covered in this dust and shooting, and we had to keep getting back down and putting our face in the dust. So people kind of coming to and coughing, that was real. And Mike Robin was like, wow, this is great, you guys. And we're like, you're killing us. It was really a lot of fun, but it wasn't easy.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of, I mean, looks like they really pretty much destroyed the squad room.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that comes together for next season.
Yeah. What happened to my beautiful office, and where am I now?
Well, Commander Raydor needs an office upgrade, so she got an interior decorator. And
well, we can hope, but I never saw Commander Taylor's office. He was in that little cubicle for a season before he got promoted to assistant chief. He was back there behind the thing right next. But that's, oh, my goodness sakes. We'll see where I am.
So speaking of the explosions, I mean, especially this kind of winter season had a lot. We had the stunts, you know, where Sharon got, you know, punched by the suspect earlier on in the season. You know, these locations, the big explosion in the graveyard. It's a lot this season. Are those difficult to do, those moments, the big outdoor scenes? I mean, what goes into something like that?
Really difficult to do. And this one was really interesting because it started with one director and ended with another. So there was one day when Patrick Duffy and Mike Robin were there together because they had to completely match the next
interesting, because it took off from one moment to the next.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we shot it, you know, back to back. But we the actors kind of were confused about at what moment is it the end of that episode, at what moment is this, do you know what I mean? But they were shooting it. Mike Robin came down on the set that day with Patrick so that he could see exactly where. It was very interesting, long and difficult. Yeah,
I bet.
A lot of great extras, a lot of people, a lot of, you know, people who had to be coordinated and choreographed correctly, and you know.
Absolutely. Seems like a lot of parts that have to move in the same at the right time to make that happen. Going back a little bit to the assistant chief thing, you know, we heard from Sharon she's so happy in her current job. She was obviously relieved.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a part of her that maybe also regrets not getting that job? Or, I mean, to have someone that has gone for so many years, you know, part of you can always kind of feel like, well, God, maybe I should have gotten that job, and why didn't I? Even though she really didn't want it.
No,
Think
I
there's any
don't.
conflict, or
I
she's
don't think
happy?
she is conflicted. I would be Mary because I think my ego is bigger than Sharon's. You know what I mean? I get the Irish in me would be, but she seems to not have that temperament. I think she gets very clear about the way things are. She's very clear about reality. So one of the things I like about her, she doesn't project a lot onto reality. And so things that become really meaningful to me or to us as humanity in general, we get really attached and we want this, we want it, we want it. We don't even know why we want it really, but we want it. And it isn't necessarily what we need or what we should have or what is bringing the most peace of mind or happiness or anything like that. So I think she's crystal clear about it. I would be muddier, for sure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
because
because
I'm thinking about that.
I'm
like,
nowhere near
yeah.
as mature as Sharon Raydor. Oh my God. Oh dear.
So James, when I spoke to him a few weeks ago, mentioned that there were actually two versions of the finale because you guys got renewed so late.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that's
there was
right.
going to be
Yeah.
a season finale or potential for it to be a series finale.
Right.
And thankfully, it was a season finale. You guys go back soon, and we have another season to look forward to this fall.
Yeah.
But do you have, had it been the series finale, or if when the show does come to a conclusion, do you have a plan in mind, or do you have any idea of where you'd like to see Sharon at the conclusion of the series?
That's such an interesting question. And a lot of times people will ask things like that on a panel or whatever. They'll say, what would you like to see happen to your character this season? And I'm always tickled by that because, first of all, it's absolutely not up to us at all what happens to our characters. And secondly, you don't always want to think about it in that concrete a manner. There is something so delicious about doing television and getting that next script and going, oh, that's what happens to her or him. You know what I mean? So where is that in my heart and soul and mind? And how do I create that rather than saying, I want this, this, and this to happen, and I know exactly how I'll do it. I just don't ever relate to that idea. And I think that most actors I think most serious actors, let's put it that way, I think, on television would say that one of the things they love is waiting for the next script to sort of have the surprise and newness of what's going to happen rather than, I would like to see this happen so I can get ready for it. There's something about the immediacy and the newness of being surprised that I think most of us like,
Well, it's like reading a book. You don't know what the next page holds.
No, that's right. And I think, it's kind of a great question, actually, from the fans. Ask it a lot because I think they know what they would like to happen, which is
Right.
which is fans. I get that. I have to say, I just last night watched the finale of Homeland. And I don't know if you two watch Homeland, but I do. And it happened last week, so I'm behind. And I literally had to walk away from the TV and put my hands over my ears at one point because I was so deeply frightened that something was going to happen that I thought was going to happen. I didn't want to happen. Do you know what I mean? And the thing that I thought did not happen, something altogether worse in the world happens, which is what I love about that show. But I get why you get attached and you go, I don't want that to happen. I want that to happen. But I don't think that the actors feel that, is my point. We like the surprise. So, yeah. So I just, this was a wonderful wrap up of the finale, the last couple episodes. But I just wanted to take a minute here with Mina and Chelsea to kind of express to all of you who frequent the podcasts and enjoy them and send in your questions that We're really grateful that you've enjoyed this as deeply as we've enjoyed doing it. This has been a very tough year on us, all of us collectively, you out there, us here. And we were just talking before, thinking back on the season and the podcast we did around the election, where we had the two millennials, our millennials, come in and talk with us about it all, and what playing a woman like this means when you go through Hillary Clinton's loss and the debacle of that, and the slam down that was for women and for the country, really, now that we know how it happened, and the kind of difficulty we're in now as a result. So what I wanted to say was that this has been extraordinarily meaningful for us to have this platform of exchange, and that James Duff has created this character of Sharon Raydor that has opened the door for whatever we are all doing here together, has been really wonderful for us as well. And we just wanted to applaud the fans.
Yes, thank you all.
Woo! Seriously, thank you all. We've loved it, and we're going to continue. And we will probably be back. We are definitely going to be back before the season begins, and we think we're going to come back with a Women of Major Crimes podcast. So we'll keep you posted while we organize that. But we'll be back at least once, if not more, before the season begins.
So no fear.
No fear. We're not going away. But we wanted to thank you for this year, because it was beautiful and difficult and painful. And the more we talk, I know for me, the better I feel. I just do. So, and Mina and Chelsea are just geniuses, and I love them, and they've made all this possible, really. I just come in and blab away. So thank you, everybody. And this concludes, oops, wait, stop. I forgot. We're not there yet, but I hope you hear this part because it makes me laugh. Go ahead, Chelsea.
You have been listening to episode 11 of the What Would Sharon Raydor Do podcast. This concludes our podcasts for season 5 of Major Crimes. Thank you guys so much for listening and being involved and hashtagging your comments and sending your questions in. We wouldn't be here without you. If you're really feeling the love, please go to iTunes, search Sharon Raydor. We pop up. Give us a thumbs up, comments, 5 stars, all that good stuff. I would love, love, love to see what would Sharon Raydor do in those top spots. And as always, you can share, comment with the hashtag WWSRD. Thanks a million. You guys absolutely rock. And we'll see you soon.
This podcast has been brought to you in part by MajorCrimesTV.net.